Peace. This is my response to Brother Walid of The Ways of Abraham. I don't know if you're going to watch this or not, but I hope you do and look over these proofs over and see if your viewpoint matches up with this. 42:11. Originator of the skies and earth, made pairs from yourselves for you, and pairs from the cattle, multiplying you in it. And there's not anything similar to its likeness. It is the hearer, the seer. Now, there is nothing like God. There's nothing like it. So since God is telling us there's nothing like it, we can't say that whatever God is doing, or God say the hand of God or whatever, we can't say that this is a hand like our hand or an animal's hand or a genie hand or whatever. We can't say that. We don't know. We never even seen God. Okay. When God said it multiplies us with it, God is talking about sex. This word sex is carrying the male pronoun, he. The male pronoun. So they mean that this word, this act, this thing that God is multiplying us by is the male and the masculine. SaaHebatan and SaaHebatan. This comes in 6:101 and 72:3. Where God said, how can I have a child when I don't have a SaaHebatan? A SaaHebatan. And then when the genie say God did not take a SaaHebatan. Right? This word has a hat at the end of it. This hat, they changed this hat into a tag by putting 2 dots on it. So now this letter take on the attribute of another letter. I don't know how all that works and stuff like that, but so this hat / tag makes everything is a feminine pronoun. Okay, we're gonna go to proof 4:1. Created you from one, waaHedaten, one. That's a feminine pronoun. It has that have with the 2 dots on it, which makes it a / tag. We created you from one, waaHedaten. That's a feminine. That's a female. From one self, right? Feminine. And created from it. This it is ha. It's the feminine pronoun from it. So that nafs is a female then, and it's feminine. So God created us from one nafs, this female nafs, and then and created and from it and created from it its mate. So this would mean that the woman came first. Woman was created before men. Right? So if woman is created before men, and as they say, the story says that God created man first and then the woman. But here God is saying that the self, the nafs, is a feminine. It's a feminine. It's a female. This is what you're telling me. The nafs is a female. This would mean that if everyone thinks that man was created first, and if this nafs is a female, that means that the first man was a transgender. Because this man is created first, but God is telling us he created us from one nafs, waaHedaten, that's a feminine pronoun, and created from it, its mate. Ha, for both the it is a ha. It's a ha with the alif after it to make it longer. Ha, feminine pronoun. So the woman came first, and then the men. I believe that both was created at the same time. My viewpoint is this. This one nafs, it was one. Then God pretty much split it in half to make two. That's my viewpoint. But, neither here nor there. Okay. Yeah, most people use the masculine pronoun for God, he. No matter if you're male or female, everyone says he. You know what I mean? The Christians have God having a child with a woman. So, I mean, majority of people is thinking that God, they're using the masculine pronoun, so they probably thinking God is, could be male. I don't know. But I'm just saying this. The people of Muhammad time were saying that the angels was God's daughters. And that, in fact, that word angel is spelled with a /ta. It has the ha with the 2 dots on it. I think it's called a ta ma'buda or something like that. But this word angels is spelled with that. So you're telling me that every angel is a female, as the people of Muhammad's time was stating. Every angel is a female. We have here 1544. This is about hell. You go to the few proofs before it. This is talking about hell. It has 7 gates. This pronoun is a feminine pronoun, ha. So you're telling me that hell is a female with femininity. However you say that word. Hell is a female. Just continue. 30:31. God talks about, males and female and having relationships with each other and stuff like that. And God said they made between them love and mercy. The word love, mawaddatan, feminine pronoun. And the word mercy, raHmatan, feminine pronoun. So you need to tell me love and mercy are females? Because they carry a feminine pronoun? 99, 1 through 5. إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا. That right there, all that. 1 through 5. It's talking about the earth. The earth is associated with a feminine pronoun. So the earth, or as they say, Mother Earth. So that means that the earth is a female. 98:1. Clarity. Bayinatin. Right? Is this bayina? This bayina has a feminine pronoun. So God's guidance, God's clarity is a female. Imam Malik stated in one of his famous speeches that, the Salafis is known for quoting this. The hand, the eyes, etc., all this, the shin, all this is known. But the how of it is unknown. And that was to avoid anthropomorphism, likening God to his creation. When God said there is nothing similar to his likeness. Nothing. 112, 1 through 4. God is one, absolute, don't have children or parents, and no one is equal to it. I use it for God. I use the pronoun it for God. I don't use he or she or whatever. Where was I at? Okay. So if God does sit on the throne, then it can't be the same way that humans or the genies or animals or whatever sit on a chair. Because nothing is like God. It can't be the same way. God hears and sees and speaks, but it's not how we or animals or anything else does it. It's not the same. I don't know how God speaks. I know that God hears everything. Whether it's all at the same time or whatever, God sees everything. Whether it's all at the same time, I don't know. All I know is what God says about himself. It sees everything. I don't need to know how God sees everything. It hears. I don't need to know how God hears everything. I don't need to know how God speaks. I just know it's true. Yes. God is not bound by any laws. Well, here in 6:12 and 54 states that God is bound by the laws that God sets for itself. Example, in 6:12 and 54, God states it mandated, kataba, it mandated mercy on itself. It mandated, kataba, mandated mercy on itself. God does not lie. God speaks the truth. So you mean to tell me that God is not bound by the laws of being truthful and honest, so God deceived people and lie? God is bound by keeping the promise. The day of owning up. That is a promise day. So you mean to tell me God goes back on his oath after God told the people, don't break your oath, this, God's gonna go back on his oath, on his promise? Oh yeah, I forgot about this. What about being just? God said does not do any injustice to the creation. We do injustice to ourselves. God is not bound by the law by being just. God's not bound by being just. So when God puts so God could be unjust anytime it wants because God could do whatever. We know God could do whatever it wants. That's not the point. The point is that God bounds himself by certain mandates. God said the method of God, you will find no alteration and it will not change. The sunnah of God, the method of God, it does not change. We know God by God's qualities. That's how we know God, by his qualities. His samah. It's not names, it's qualities. We know God by the qualities. In 5:116, Jesus is talking to God, and Jesus says, you know what is in myself, but I don't know what is in yourself. There's that word nafs again. This word nafs is a feminine word. So now you're telling me that God is masculine. You said 100% masculine. But since God has a nafs, and nafs is a feminine word, that means God is both male and female. This is what you're telling me. God is both male and female. Because God has a nafs. And the way they wrote this word, this Arabic word nafs, it is a feminine pronoun. Okay. We have here in 59:22-24. I'm going to read off some of God's qualities. Knower of the unseen and the witness. The Almighty. The merciful. The King. The holy. The perfect. The trusted. the overseer, the governing. They translate it as the mighty. I prefer governing. The unstoppable, the great, the creator, the originator, the fashioner, the wise. You said that God has emotions. So I looked up emotion on Google, and it says that emotion is a natural, instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationship with others. Tell me, what circumstance or circumstances is God going through? Or what mood will God be in when it sends people to the garden or hell? Since God is not bound by being just, God is not bound by justice. God's just being mad and throwing people in hell and don't care. Hey, you go to the garden. Proof 255. It states, God's throne encompasses the skies and the earth. It encompasses the skies and the earth. So if it's bigger than the skies and the earth, how can God be in the sky living there? (57:21) states that the garden is the size of the skies and the earth. So if the garden is the size of the skies and the earth, and the throne encompasses the earth, how can God be contained in the garden? I forgot. God can do whatever it wants. So God must have shrunk himself to be living in the sky. I think that's all I gotta say about that. But yeah. We only say about God what God says for itself. That's it. You don't go no further than that. When God said to Moses, look at the mountain, if it stays, you're gonna see me, and this and this and this. The mountain got demolished just by God. Ain't nothing about exposing itself. Come on. How could Moses see? How could have Moses have been able to see God in the mountain if God's throne is bigger than the skies and the earth? If God supposedly sits on his throne and God is bigger than the skies and the earth, he must have shrunk himself down and then went to the mountain and the mountain got destroyed. I don't know. But yeah, peace.